My parents divorced when I was very small. My mother left me when I was 3 months old, disappeared out of my life for the next 6 years. I wouldn't see her again until I was 6 years old. My one true emotion was anger. Like I really couldn't feel any other emotions other than anger. And he said no. He said something to me that irritated me, angered me. So I beat him up. And I beat him up pretty violently. Who is Yusha Evans? That's a question I asked myself many times. I was born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina. Born and raised as a Christian, raised in the church. I had plans to become a youth minister, a Christian minister, and started looking for other religions. Couldn't find them. Ended up in the streets, street life. I accepted Islam when I was 18 years old. And ever since then, I've always tried to make it my goal to help as many people as I can understand the religion of Islam. Before Islam, I was raised as a Methodist Christian. It's a very formal version of Christianity. Like, it's not what you would think when you go to a church. There's a bunch of jumping and screaming and yelling. It was very, very formal, almost like Catholic Mass. So that was what ended up leading me to want to be part of Christian ministries. But it was also what led me away from Christianity when I started studying the Bible and realizing that this is not what the Bible teaches. The Bible does not teach the Trinity. Jesus did not teach the Trinity. And the Bible is not an inerrant book. It is a book full of errors. And I'd also become a little bit jaded with God. I was a little bit upset with him because I'm over here looking for you. You don't want to be found. So I started getting into the street life, listening to rap music. I fell very, very much into hip hop music at the time. I fell into the rap lifestyle, the hip hop lifestyle. And I was getting into trouble in school. I actually got arrested during this period of time. My parents divorced when I was very small. My mother left me when I was 3 months old, disappeared out of my life for the next 6 years. I wouldn't see her again until I was 6 years old. So I was raised by my father, and then he remarried, and my stepmother was a sworn enemy of my mother from high school. Like, my stepmother was deaf, and my mother, they all went to the same high school. My mother used to make fun of my stepmother for being deaf. So in order to take on my mother, my stepmother physically, mentally, my one true emotion was anger. Like, I really couldn't feel any other emotions other than anger. One night we were in a small town in South Carolina called Pickens, and I was So we went to a payphone in this very small town in the middle of nowhere, and there was a young man who was on it. And I asked him to get off the phone, like, yo, I need to get out. You can call whoever you want to call back. I need to use the phone now. And he said no. He said something to me that irritated me, angered me. So up pretty violently. So I started reading the Quran. I opened the chapter 1. The Fatiha sounds very much to me like the Lord's Prayer. But chapter 2, verse 2 is what caused me to really want to read the Quran. It said, this is the book that has no doubt in it. So I wanted to prove that verse wrong, because I did not believe that Muslims could have the right religion. And I saw another challenge in Surah Al-Baqarah. If you're in doubt about this book, then bring something like it. You know what I mean? Or if this book had been from other than God, you would find in it contradictions. So there's all these challenges at the beginning of the book, and there is no religious text on this planet that is like that. The book starts off with a challenge to the reader that there's no contradictions, there's no errors. Try, please, prove it. And I took that challenge seriously. So I spent that entire weekend reading the Quran cover to cover, Friday evening to Sunday. When I finished on Sunday, I was a Muslim. It's not a feeling you can really put in words, if that makes sense. Like it's hard to explain. It's like trying to explain the birth of your first child. Like there's no real words for it. It was more of I found my place. You know what I mean? Like my heart felt like that hole that had been in my soul for so long felt like it had been filled. Because before that, I was trying to fill it with so many other things. You know, Christianity was there for a while, and you know, the streets and partying, whatever. And I try to explain to people that trying to fill, because every person has a hole in their soul without Islam. It's just because it's our fitrah. And I try to tell people that if you try to fill that hole with anything other than Islam, it's like going to the beach and trying to fill the ocean with sand. No matter how much you dump in, you'll never fill it. You'll never fill it. It can only be filled with coming back to your true nature, which is to worship God alone. I just felt home. I felt at peace. All that anger, all of that craziness that was going on in my mind quieted down, like it plugged that hole.